everyone. A very good afternoon to you all. I am Pratiksha and I'll be your host for this afternoon. And I warmly welcome you all to this exclusive event in this Pride Month on LGBTQ plus to Gen Z. Is your organization ready? So the Times of India group brings to you Times Professional Learning. Being the largest media conglomerate, the Times Group has diversified into several businesses, truly becoming a household name today. Times Professional Learning is an extended arm of the Times Group, a strategic investment in the corporate education world. TPL, in its 10 years of operations, focuses on enhancing the landscape of adult education, paving the path to become a global learning and development consulting firm. With this, let me welcome our special guest for this afternoon, Ms. Smita Shetty Kapoor, CEO and co-founder of Kelp HR. She'll be sharing her valuable insights on LGBTQ plus to Gen Z community in the organization. The brainchild Kelp HR is driven by Ms. Smita, and she's been tirelessly working towards creating awareness about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And she's the only Indian to be ranked among world's top 10 diversity consultants in year 2020. She has been empaneled with over 30 organizations to help them monitor the working of internal complaints committee and works as a third-party support to help companies investigate cases of harassment. An active blogger, Smita loves hosting interviews and talk shows on subjects pertaining to posh, women, LGBTQ rights, and empowerment. So without further ado, let me hand over the virtual dais to Ms. Smita and request her to please commence with the session. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Pratik. And thank you very much, Times, for giving me this opportunity to present today. And it's a rainy afternoon for me in Mumbai, and I'm sure it's almost monsoon, which has set in. But this is a subject which is very close to my heart, and I hope that it will be an engaging session. So there is a chat box. If you have any questions related to this subject, you can use the chat box and put in your questions. I think we have almost 45 minutes, and trust me, the topic is so vast that not everything can be covered in 45 minutes, right? So what I have done is I have picked up a few very important stuff that needs to be discussed today, and it will be completely just a tip of the iceberg, or we have not even scraped the top, right? But the discussion starts and it continues as the journey of diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's a journey. We cannot say that we have arrived at any point of time because we're dealing with human beings. We are evolving ever, right? Without speaking a lot on that, I'm going to be sharing my presentation. I hope all of you can see, right? So it's an activity time. So I want you all to go through a particular journey with me, and it's going to be a little interactive after that. So I would really want you all to pay attention to this activity because you have to respond to me after that, right? As I said, it is a rainy afternoon. I would want you to close your eyes and relax, sit back on whichever chair or seat you're sitting. Okay, put your feet firmly on the ground. Close your eyes and walk through a journey with me. Are you ready for that? And I'm hoping, I know if you can use the chat window and say yes, no, so I know you're with me. All right, Shiva says yes, and I'm hoping his yes is from all of us, okay? So this is a hypothetical situation and you're going to see it with me with your eyes closed, or rather go through it with me with your eyes closed. I just want you to hear me. I don't want you to see me. I will also go off video, so nothing is distracting you, but I hope you can hear my voice. So you are sitting calm, sitting down. Okay. Now I'm going to say something and you're going to imagine it. Okay. You have moved to a new city alone and you hire a house help. Unfortunately, your family is not there with you. You're alone here. Yesterday, early in the day, there was a knock at the door and you open the door. You see your house help at the door. You are very pleased as you're very hungry. You're waiting for your quick breakfast. You give instructions to your house help for your breakfast. You get your breakfast. You quickly gobble it up and you're ready to leave for the airport. You are traveling to another city. You have called for a taxi. The taxi ping called you saying that they're waiting downstairs. You run down, get into your taxi. You exchange a quick glance with the taxi driver. You tell your taxi driver to hasten you because you're already late. You somehow get there, though there is a lot of traffic on the way. You dash to the airport, to the security. You run all your way to the airplane. You're almost the last passenger to get in. They just close the door behind you. As soon as they close the door behind you, the pilot of the airplane comes out to wish everybody. You are happy to see the captain and you think, wow, smart captain. The flight takes off. You land at your destination. You have a very busy day ahead. You have to attend a tech conference. You look around at the venue of the conference and you see many familiar faces. You attend the conference. It's lunchtime. They're serving a buffet lunch, but you have come to your favorite city, which has a favorite restaurant, which is next door. So you skip the buffet and go for the restaurant. You enter your restaurant, you take a cozy corner around, and just at the next table, you see a couple celebrating their anniversary. They are exchanging loving glances at each other. You're happy to see them. You have a quick meal and you come back to the conference. You're looking forward for the next event in the conference because the CEO, one of the most powerful CEO of your industry, is going to be speaking. The CEO comes and delivers the talk. That's the end of this visualization exercise. Y'all can open your eyes and we will have some conversation around it. You can use the chat and I'm going to ask you a few questions. Are you all ready to respond to it? Awesome, Shiva. Thank you. So the house help that you hired, which gender was this house help? Okay. Anybody else? The taxi driver, which gender was the taxi driver? Remember the captain who came out to say hello to you from the flight deck? Which gender was the captain? I'm a little confused, Shiva, male, female for... If you could say house help, this would be helpful. Male for the driver, okay. All right. The conference that you're attending, you saw many familiar faces. What were they wearing for the tech conference? Which color blazers? Okay. You go to the restaurant, you see a couple celebrating their anniversary. Were they heterosexual couple? Was it a man and a woman celebrating? Was it a man and a man celebrating? Was it a woman and a woman celebrating? What did you see? I know idealistic responses. What did you see? The CEO of the industry was going to present. Whom did you see there? Did they look anything like me? Remember, Kritiksha introduced me as CEO and co-founder of Kelp HR. And today is a conference that you're attending. Did you imagine somebody who is dressed colorfully? I'm sorry, I can only show you this much. Did they look anything like me? I'm not wearing gray, black blazer at all. So what does this visualization exercise take us through? What did you feel when you went through this visualization exercise? How does it come to you easily? How does these images come to you in your mind easily? While Shiva, you gave all the other answers, I would really want to hear from you also that how did you get these responses? Did it come to you easily? You had to work on your biases? Because these are not easy responses to get. A house help is generally a female. A taxi driver is generally a male. The captain of an airplane is always a male. And gray, black blazers, the couple is always heterosexual. And the CEO is somebody, again, a very powerful man in a black gray blazer. Yes, Shiva, I know you said male help. Very unique. And you are unique for responding that way. But the reason why this entire exercise is helpful for any training program, which is diversity, equity, inclusion, is to tell us that our thought processes stems from our experiences, right? And it stays with us. It is quite ingrained in our thought process. For us to change, it takes time. And it really needs an effort for us to change those thought processes. And that is the starting point of diversity, equity, and inclusion conversation that we're going to have today. Shiva, congratulations on that. I hope your daughter fulfills your dream soon. So what is diversity, equity, inclusion that we are discussing about? Diversity is very simple. Different kinds of people joining the workforce. Okay, you get people from various communities, various castes, you get people, men, you get women, equal representation, you get people from LGBTQ community, you get people across generations, across communities, across location. So diversity is just in getting them together. And there's something which is beautifully said, that diversity can be mandated. What is difficult is inclusion. Inclusion is creating an environment where everybody can thrive, can survive. That needs cultivation. That needs mindset change. And then we move one step forward. What is that? It is equity. Equity is giving everybody equal opportunities, giving them resources to thrive. So as workplaces, are we doing that? As an organization, are you up for it? It is very easy for me to sit across the table and say, guys, you have to do that. But then comes profitability. Are we looking at it? There has been enough and more data to prove that any organization which wants to be successful has to be diverse, has to be equitable, has to be inclusive. And there are percentages which are thrown on our faces to show us or prove it to us. But many organizations do not know what to do. And that's what the discussion is going to be today. Yeah. So a little bit more about diversity. So if you look at it, I don't know if you have heard about iceberg principle, where there is very little bit of diversity, which is visually seen, but there is a lot of it which is hidden under the waterline. Okay. So diversity is a mix of all that. Diversity is, of course, the skin color, the race, the gender, which can be seen, but diversity in our thought processes, in our capability, in our ability, a lot of it which cannot be seen. So diversity is differences. Okay. This is the most beautiful picture. A lot of people ask me, equity, equality. You know, women keep saying that they want equality, but they still have reservations across. Why do they have reservation? There is reservation in various places for people who come from marginalized communities. Why do we need a reservation? You are getting equal opportunities. So this is a most brilliant picture that I have seen to explain what's the difference between equality and equity. And I don't think it needs any explanation. On your left side, you see equality, where everybody is getting equal resources. And on the right side, you see equity, where people are given resources depending on where they are. Yeah. Equity is removing barriers that prevent people from being successful at workplaces. So equity and equality is not same. People get confused. So it is very important for us to understand. And as I mentioned, inclusion needs cultivation. Inclusion needs a lot of work. While equity also needs a lot of work, diversity also needs a lot of work, but diversity is easy. You get people from varied communities. Equity is also something that is in your control, but what is not in your control is a larger piece which needs a lot of effort. It's like cultivation. You have to cultivate. Okay. So inclusion is acknowledging, fully utilizing, and fully leveraging differences that people bring with their different dimensions of diversity at workplace. Inclusion means all people, regardless of their differences, have the right to be respected and appreciated as valuable members of an organization. So this is my beautiful parallel that I draw all the time. You know, diversity is like throwing a party and inviting everybody. You come, you come, you come, you come. There's a party happening, just come. Inclusion is asking people to dance at the party. Come on, Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. Y, Miss A, Miss X, MX, A. Come on, let's dance. Come together, we'll dance. Equity is playing the kind of music which enables everybody to dance. I hope that's a very simple drawing of parallels that I could do. So diversity is a mix. Inclusion is getting all that mix to work well together. So I want you all to do another activity. If you have a pen and paper, it will be brilliant. Otherwise, you can use your computer machine. Just pull out an Excel sheet. There are around 10 questions, and you have to just put agree, disagree, or maybe against each one of them. Are you all ready for that? Okay. So the first question is, do you think your leaders are diverse? Agree, disagree, or maybe? You have to do it for yourself. It's a self-evaluation question and you don't have to tell me the responses. So put number 1 and pick up either agree, disagree, or maybe. Number 2 question. Do you celebrate diversity of ideas and people in your company? Agree, disagree, maybe. Does HR team consciously source candidates from underrepresented communities? Women, LGBTQ, people with special abilities, different communities, different caste, generation. Do they consciously do that? Accidentally, maybe yes, but do they consciously do that? Agree, disagree, maybe. Next questions. Are employees in your organization open about being from any marginalized community? Do they say, you know, we belong to LGBTQ community or we belong to X community, which could be marginalized, which may be looked down upon? Are employees in your organization open or comfortable about sharing their backgrounds or from which community do they belong? Next question. Do all employees feel comfortable to talk about their social and cultural background at workplaces? Are they comfortable talking about their social or cultural background? Agree, disagree, maybe. Does your organization's policies support the need of colleagues from underrepresented communities? Does your organization policy support LGBTQ people or people with special abilities? Do your policies call it out clearly? Is it communications are neutral? Job forms, when they fill up, they're very sensitive towards the needs of the people. Do you have Mediclaim policies which cover these people? Agree, disagree, maybe. Are you an advocate of any underrepresented community? Are you an ally for any of the communities? Do you advocate about them? Do you create awareness about them? Are your employee trainings promoting inclusion? Do they constantly talk about how we have to be included, how we have to take care of people who are from a different community? We could be from a privileged communities. Are they taken care? Do your employee trainings talk about it? Do you conduct inclusion diversity programs? Do you feel confident about voicing a contrary opinion in a meeting? Or do you feel scared to do that? You're not confident of doing that. Are there forums in your organization to express your ideas and opinions without any fear of retaliation? Maybe subtle also. I'm sure there won't be very strong retaliation, but sometimes body language of people change or the tone of a communication may change if you raise a concern. So are there any forums where you feel confident that if I raise it, there won't be any retaliation against me? I hope you have been able to respond to all these questions and put them in agree, disagree, or maybe bracket. If yes, I want you to count how many agrees are there. Maybe 1, 4, 5, 6 is an agree. So 4 of them are agrees. How many disagrees are there? And how many maybes are there? Please total it out. And this is absolutely self-assessment. You don't have to share it with me. It's a mirror. It's like a mirror to yourself. So if there are more agrees, means you are in a thriving DEI community workplace and you're culturally effective. You yourself feel inclusive. People around you feel inclusive. So this is an organization which you have to hold on to and take it to the next level. Work continuously for the cause of the organization. So you're in an absolutely awesome organization. If there are more disagrees, means there is a need to develop more understanding of cultural implication. There could be an issue in being diverse and inclusive, but no problem. You have signed up for a program today, which means that you feel that there is a need for DEI work. So you have taken the first step. So don't curse yourself for being in an organization which has most disagrees. You have thought about it, meaning you are trying to bring in that culture. And trust me, you need that one spark. You could be that spark as a leader, as an employee. And more maybe you are in a moderate environment and there is a scope to enhance your diversity initiatives. Okay, if you have any thoughts around it, anybody's got most agrees and want to share here, you can put it on the chat. Hope you did the activity religiously. Okay, did you all enjoy the activity? Okay, Daisy, thank you. Anything you want to share about the activity? All right. Nice. So people ask me, okay, Smita, you've been speaking about, oh, we need to cultivate inclusion. What is inclusion all about? Inclusion is opposite of exclusion. But what is exclusion? All right, so today I'm going to throw some statements at you. These are like right on your face, but not necessarily all the exclusive statements are really so loud and clear. There could be many which are not spoken. There are many which are just felt by maybe eye movement of somebody, by tone of somebody, by a body language of somebody. But these are some statements which people feel excluded, and I'm going to bring that about to you. So, and these are collected from real people. This is not something that Smita has created overnight, okay? We are working with 700 odd organizations and we do research on how people feel excluded. And these are real people who have given these statements to us. And we have picked only few because it wouldn't fit in one slide and we had a lot of such statements. So I've picked only few just to give you a flavor or insight on it. Organizations do not employ me on their shop floor or night shift as I'm a woman. Because people say that they have to create policies, they have to put in security guards, they will have to spend more money to bring in women in night shift. Hey, pretty face, you have to just smile to get that sales, unlike us. Women have heard the statement saying that they don't have to work hard, they have to just smile to get the sales done while we have to do all the hard work. My team members don't include me in their fun activities as I'm a mom. You are too techie for your age. So somebody who maybe from my generation or maybe earlier if we are technologically savvy, we hear this a lot, saying, too techie, huh, for your age. Why do you need more salary? Your husband is so rich. You work for time pass, right? So if a woman is going to get a promotion or something, this is something that we hear. Being the only woman in the team, it is expected from me to take down minutes of the meeting or order a tea during a common meeting. Even when I'm leaving on time, my colleagues will comment, half day today. I practice work-life balance and pursue my DJing after work, but my seniors just do not get it. You know, as being a Gen X, Gen Z, I have my extracurricular activities and I believe in work-life balance. But when I'm leaving on time, I get asked these questions. I'm not getting a new job as I just got married. They ask me my plans of having a baby. Our teammate Raj rejected a gift we got for him for his birthday, a pink shirt. He said it's so gay. Why you walk like a girl, be a man. So this is a DEI kind of statements where people feel excluded. There are many which can be boxed as women, as generational, as LGBTQ community. I brought it all together so that you get a flavor that similar things people from LGBTQ community face, people from different generations face, people from, you know, of course, the gender biases they face. So understanding what is this generation all about? I mean, saying Gen Z, Generation X, what is it? So we've just broken it down for your understanding, and it could be a little bit here and there because it's depending on 4-5 years, it could be here and there, but a good mix, right? So people who are born from 1920 to 1945 are called traditionalist. Okay, they value authority, they value top-down management approach. So this is traditionalist. Baby boomers, most of us are, not us, maybe our seniors, they are baby boomers. They were born, just after the Second World War. They expect some difference to their opinions. Okay. Generation X, that is from where we are. We are comfortable with authority. We work hard, but work-life balance is important for us. Now, this is a very generalized comment. It can be different from person to person. It's just general comment, what we have gathered over a period of time. Who are millennials? Millennials are those people who are born from 1980 to 1996. Respect must be earned for them. Okay, and they're tech savvy and they are goal oriented. What is interesting and you must be aware of, and this is the community which is going to hit our workplaces soon, or rather they have hit our workplaces. This is Generation Z. They are born from 1997 onwards. They are digital natives, so they're born in the digital age. They're connected and quick decision makers. They're progressive, pragmatic, and most importantly, they are diversity focused. Please understand, children, okay, who are in this group are already aware of LGBTQ community. They are already expressing themselves as non-binary. Do we even identify that? Do we even know what is this? So it is important in our today's discussion that we'll be talking about Generation Z. Okay. So what is Generation Z? Generation Z will soon surpass millennials as the most populous generation on earth. Okay, a generation that is striving for change, a more progressive and inclusive world. It is a generation that is breaking away from binary notions of gender and sexuality. These guys are not going to be called as a man or a woman, or may not be heterosexual or even homosexual. This generation is going to be very, very progressive. right? And they are going to, as I said, they are populous, so they are going to be all around us. So are we as organizations prepared to have them on board? This is a good question for all the HR heads to start thinking about it. But what is LGBTQ or SOGISIC? This is something which is important. Now, this LGBTQ term is, you have seen that plus sign up because it is a very evolving term. So I'm going to introduce to you a word or an acronym which is called SOGISIC, SOGIESC. Okay, you can, a lot of people pronounce it the way they want it. Some call it SOGISIC, some call it SOGISIC. So that's an acronym and you can pronounce it the way you want it. Now, why is it SOGISIC? Sexual orientation, SO. GI is for gender identity. E is for expression. So gender identity and expression. SC is sex characteristics. Now, easier explained with the help of genderbread person. Can you see this genderbread person here? Okay, you can Google about it. It is available, but as I have an opportunity to explain to you, I'm going to take a minute to do that. Okay, what is genderbread person? A person first starts with gender identity. Okay, how do they feel? Do they feel like a man or a woman? If they feel like a man, okay, I'm just going to take a step back and speak about biological sex. When a child is born, because of their sex characteristics, people around them assign them to a biological sex. They say if they are born with male genitals, they are called male. If they're born with female genitals, they are called female. Okay. Now that is biological sex. Sometimes there's a mix, so it is also called intersex. Okay. Moving to gender identity. When a person who's born with the biological sex of a woman feels like a woman, then they are called cis woman, CIS woman. If a person who's born with the male characteristics, male physical characteristics, and feels like a man and identifies themselves as a man is called cis man. But if it is the other way around, if a person who is born with male genitals feels like a woman, gender identity is a woman, they are a trans woman. Okay, if a child is born with female characteristics, physical characteristics, and feels like a man, okay, identifies like a man, feels. So if you look at the brain, identity, identifies like a man is a trans man. There are some people who do not feel like a man or a woman. They are called non-binary. So gender identity can be a cis woman, cis man, trans woman, trans man, non-binary. Okay. Now comes gender expression. How do they express? How do they show their skills? Are they feminine? Are they masculine? That is gender expression. Okay. And sexual orientation. Very important question. A lot of people ask me, do everybody have sexual orientation? It's a question I would want you all to respond to. Do all of you have sexual orientation? You can use the chat and tell me. Does every person here have sexual orientation? Okay. I think you're taking a little time. I can't see any responses here. And I think I have to stop sharing because I can't see your responses. Yeah, somebody says yes. Yes, everybody here have a sexual orientation. Okay, if you are a cis woman and you're attracted to a man, you are heterosexual. If you're a cis woman or a woman identifies yourself as a woman, is attracted to a woman, you are called a lesbian. Likewise, if a man is attracted to a woman, is called heterosexual. But if he's attracted to a same sex, same gender person, is called homosexual. So everybody here has a sexual orientation. I know it gets very confusing, but if you have signed up for today's conversation, meaning you're at the right step, you need to invest a little more time and constantly work towards it. So the acronym of LGBTQI goes on. It belongs to people who identify themselves to different gender identities, different kinds of sexual orientation. And do you know that in India, it used to be quite open prior to British era? If you look at our mythology, scriptures, there are mention of homosexuality. There's mention of different kinds of gender identities. Unfortunately, Britishers came and criminalized the whole thing, and we lost the knowledge in transit. It took many centuries for us to get it back. So the Section 377 helped us decriminalize LGBTQ communities. Still, there is a lot of work pending. Still, the marriage is not expected of same gender, do not have the status. Okay, and there is a lot of work still pending in that space, but at least now it is not decriminalized. At least now it is not criminal. So some percentage for you, while you can see in America, you can see in China, the most important percentage you should notice is 16% in India. So a lot of people said that, oh, is it because now we speak openly, people have got corrupted? These are the statements which are made. No, it's not about getting corrupted. It's about people coming out and accepting that I am from the community. People have been locked up or in the closet for many, many years. And this is the time when they are coming out. So are you an ally to these people? Some more data for you. So if you look at the generation wise, in baby boomers vis-a-vis Gen Zs, the percentage of people speaking that they are transgenders or non-binary have increased, and it will only go on increasing because we have started providing them with a safe space. So you as an organization, are you prepared to have them onboarded? What are you doing about it? There have been exits, people have left or not joined a particular organization because the company culture was not open towards LGBTQ community. They have walked out of the organization or not joined. In fact, a lot of organizations are coming to KELP HR to help them create a culture which is inclusive of LGBTQ. Are you doing that already? If not, then you have to start doing it. Otherwise, you will stop being relevant. If you are not working in the space of DEI as an organization, you will fall off the wagon. So is your organization ready? Is your organization comfortable in being uncomfortable? Yes, it is not a comfortable situation. A lot of people are still understanding or trying to understand. Trust me, even we took a little time to understand that how do we go about it? Are you ready to be uncomfortable? And this is a journey which is going to be uncomfortable. So I've got you a case study. This is a real case study. A Pune-based manufacturing company had a very dismal ratio of women vis-a-vis men on shop floor. They got an order from their APAC office to work towards bringing in more employees on shop floor. As an experiment, they hired a women batch and placed them in the night shift. Now, this is what we heard from others. Nobody is comfortable around them. Men can't use their regular language around them. Women don't take smoke breaks. They need a drop with security guard. Few women could not take pressure. One woman had to rush to the hospital as she goes through difficult times during her period leave and was pushing herself to avoid any holidays. The reason I got this case study is when we are going to be DEI, these are the questions or concerns being raised. These are the uncomfortable situations which you're going to face. Are you ready for it? What are you doing to be ready for it? So I had a very important conversation with Abhina Aher. She's part of the transgender community, right? And I was asking her, Abhina, should we create an environment which is safe for transgender people, or should we first create policies, or should we first hire people and then create our policies? So she said it is chicken and egg story. Okay, you either hire and create safe workplaces, or create safe workplaces and hire. Whatever you do, please do it. Start doing it. So it is important, right? So are we as organizations starting to take these bold steps? Is your organization ready for unconscious biases? Are you already working on unconscious biases? So this is a story of Sally and John, which is a very common story, and you must have heard how people hire people whom they like, and how they might figure out that, something is amiss because this person is not like that person. We look at affinity bias and we get swayed. So are you working towards creating an environment which is free of unconscious biases? Conscious biases we can take charge of, but unconscious bias is so deep rooted in us, right? It will take time for us to make that change. So as an organization, what are you doing? Are you conducting training programs to make people aware of their unconscious biases, which needs to be worked on? Is your organization working on micro-affirmation? These are some negative aspects like unconscious bias, like are we pushing out people out of the system? This is a positive way. So this is another case study where Shrey has joined a corporate after MBA from a very reputed institute. They belong to LGBTQ community and they get marginalized all the time. As a leader of Shrey, give some input. How will you use micro affirmations to ease Shrey into your organization's culture? What will you do? Will you start appreciating Shrey for things, smaller things maybe they must be doing? The equity is important. Remember the equity? You'll have to give that extra cushion for somebody who may not have had it. You will have to pay special attention. You cannot say, I am an equal leader and I'll give equal attention to all of them. No, this community will need special attention. They'll need special care from their leaders. Are you up to it? As an organization, are you training your leaders to be up for it? What are you doing about it? So going forward, I would want you all to think about this. Create inclusive policies and for employee benefits. Do you have a policy of equal opportunity employer? Look into your policies and find out what does it say. Do you use neutral communication? Many places we use he, she. Are you including they, them? In your website, in your emails, pictures put up there. Are you using gender neutral forms, employment forms? Does it ask only for Miss, Mrs., Ms.? Does it talk about MX? Do you have medical benefits for same-sex partner insurance or surgery, sexual surgery that they have to go through? Do you have that? Do you have leave policy, which has paternity policy, adoption policy, caregiver policy, sex transition leave, period leave? Do you have that? Do you have policies on discrimination, harassment, sexual harassment included? Dress code policy, what does it talk about? Many dress code policies, I know that for men it is this, for women it is this. Do you have gender fluid dressing included? Do you have infrastructure? Do you have gender neutral washrooms? Are you creating education, sensitization workshops, awareness workshops for your employees, for your leaders? Are you setting up support groups, employee resource groups? Are you creating role models? Are your leaders talking about it continuously in every communication? Are you using it for building a brand? Are you branding about it? Are you creating opportunities for them to be part of decision-making roles? Not only that you give them job, what about their career path? Are you thinking about that? Are you consciously doing diversity hiring? Working towards their promotion, working towards their retention? Are you working on allyship? So before we close, I want you all to leave these questions. What should be your focus going forward? What does your policies, cultures, and representation talk about? As organizations, leaders, employees, we need to realize that inclusion is a business imperative, but also the right thing to do, or the only thing to do. You have to start working towards it. And with that, I take a pause. If there are, yeah. How would ERG Employees Resource Group help? ERG Employee Resource Group is a group of like-minded people who work in the space of, we are at the actually fag end of Pride Month. What happens is in Pride Month, everybody colors their logos, rainbow. They talk about that we are inclusive organization, done. June end goes and everything goes under the carpet. What this ERG group does is constantly works for this subject around the year. So they create the entire year's calendar, and they come up with activity either every quarter or every month. We at Kelp HR help them create this. So we have somebody consulting them throughout, right? Helping them build their calendar, ensuring that there is some work happening in the space of either creating awareness or getting policies for them. Any particular activity is run. So throughout the year, there is work happening. There is a ERG sponsor. So there is a sponsor which comes from a senior management team who's also watching and taking a report card of the ERG group, what it is. It's a voluntary group, but this is a group which is working towards the upliftment advocacy of this particular group. MYDS, I hope I've responded to your question. Okay, thank you. Any other questions from this group here? We are exactly at 4:01. So if there is any response, anything that you want to speak about. Any quick feedback from this group? Any specific policies? So another question is, any specific policies that we should look for women employees? Actually, for women employees, I think the most important thing, and if you can spend a little time on, is career intentionality. Unfortunately, because of pandemic and a lot of home responsibilities falling on women, we see a clear dropout of women after they join in, from their moving from the beginners to the mid-level. There are a lot of dropouts because the responsibility increases. How can we create an intentional careers for them by giving them some cushion? So yes, we can look at career intentionality, mentoring program for them, where they are continuously coached to not drop off, okay, and see how we can, match their thought processes and not offer them jobs, but offer them careers within the organization. Okay, any documents, guidance on gender neutral policy, which can be followed to review existing policy? We don't have anything ready-made as such. Inderpal, what I recommend is start by, if you have anybody who comes from the community, give them a bunch of your employment policies and ask them to read it for you. and pick it up. I feel that if you're not from that community, you really don't understand what are their concerns. So fortunately for KelpHR, we have a couple of people from the community who help us. We are also allies. I'm also a cis woman. Okay, there are so many difficulties which I don't understand because I don't fall in that community, but I'm a strong ally of that community, and that's why I know a little bit more. So what we do is we go back to this community, and we have lawyers from LGBT community who are at on KelpHR roles, who go through it and pick it up. Okay, so it's a good idea. I can speak to them if they can draw up any guidelines, but they go through the policy and pick out. So what you have to primarily look at is, are you restricting it? Simple things. Okay, let me give you some tips. Okay, anywhere you're calling out his, her, add they, them there. If anywhere you are saying spouse or wife or husband, call it partner. Okay, instead of calling it wife or husband or spouse, call it partner. Okay, wherever you're calling brother, sister, call it sibling. These are simple things that I can think of, right? So just if you wear the hat of a person who cannot recognize themselves to a particular or attach themselves to a particular gender or a particular sexual orientation, how will you? Now go to dress code policy. Women can wear saris. Okay, instead of remove women can wear saris, and just remove women, men pointers there. Say that, either sari can be worn, or closed shoes can be worn by people, or shirt can be worn, trouser can be worn. So make it gender neutral as much as possible is my thought process. If you need more details, I think we can have a chat and see how to take it forward. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I try to simplify it as much as possible because I feel the subject is complicated, and as simple you make it, it will reach to as many people as possible. The more complicated you make it, you won't achieve what you are really wanting to achieve here. Thank you so much.
So thank you very much, Ms. Smita, for this wonderful session. I have personally gathered my set of insights, and I'm sure the audience has too. I would like to thank the audience for asking such insightful questions, and I'm sure you've gathered your insights. I would like to thank Ms. Smita for sharing her valuable time with us, and I would also like to thank the audience for being a part of this webinar. If you'd like to know more about our offerings, you can reach out to us at www.timeprofessionallearning.com or leave a message in the chat box and we will connect with you at the earliest. This is your host, Pratiksha, signing off. Please take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pratiksha.